Today's show, we're breaking down Canada's political system and what it means for you.
From understanding how elections work to exploring the parties, their platforms, and where to find reliable info.
We'll guide you through the facts so you can feel confident and informed before casting your vote.
We also talked to John Parker, a professor specializing in international relations and law at Algonquin College.
This is Know the Facts Before You Cast. Hello everyone, I'm Alex LaBranche.
And I'm Adrian Tishy. Today, we're going to demystify some points about politics.
If you didn't already know, 2 important elections are coming up in Ontario.
We know that Canadian politics can be complex and difficult to understand, but there's no need to worry because we're going to explain it all to you today. To start, let's take a quick look at how Canada's election system works, and by the end of this, you'll feel way more confident about making your voice heard in the next election.
Whether it's your first time voting or your 10th, it's useful to know how the Canadian election system works. Here's a quick breakdown. Canada is divided into 338 areas called electoral districts or ridings. The citizens in each riding elects one member of the Parliament or MP to represent their community in the House of Commons. When you vote, you choose a candidate to represent your riding. This candidate then gains a seat in the House of Commons. These candidates usually represent a political party like the Liberal Party, Conservative Party, or the NDP, but they can also be an independent candidate who isn't affiliated with a specific party. Federal elections are held on the 3rd Monday of October every 4 calendar years since the last election. And on the other hand, provincial elections are held on the 4th Monday every 4 years. There is an exception to this rule called a snap election, where the Prime Minister or Premier of each province has the ability to request an early election if they're confident in the favorability with the Canadians. Once all votes are counted, the party that wins the most seats in the House of Commons typically forms the government. If they win more than half the seats, 170 or more, that's called a majority government. If not, they form a minority government and may need support from other parties to get legislation through the House. The leader of the winning party then becomes the Prime Minister. The federal government handles all national and international concerns, such as foreign affairs, national defense, and immigration, whereas the provincial government is more responsible for things such as healthcare and education in their respective province. And that's how Canada's elections work. By voting, you play a crucial role in shaping our country's future. So, when the next election comes around, make your voice heard. Now that you know how the political system works, stay with us, and after the break, we'll explain parties you'll be voting for and the platforms they run on. Did it work in the first one? Just in case, yeah. Welcome back. Before the break, we explained Canada's government and election system.
Now, let's dive into the parties you'll vote for and their platforms.
But first, where are Algonquin students getting their political information from? Let's take a look.
We surveyed 65 Algonquin students and found that Instagram leads as the top source of political content with 28 votes, followed by TikTok at 16 votes, TV at 8 votes, YouTube at 7 votes, and X at 6 votes. While it's easy to rely on these sources, doing your own research from unbiased, reputable outlets is crucial.
Understanding party platforms and policies is key to making an informed decision that aligns with your values. Feeling overwhelmed? Don't worry. We've prepared a quick guide on Canada's major parties and their policies.
All right, to begin, Canada has 5 recognized parties currently holding seats in the House of Commons. There's the Liberal Party, the party of our current Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, with 153 seats. The Conservative Party, which is the official opposition with 119 seats, and there's 2 more parties with official status. They are the Bloc Québécois, who only run in Quebec and have 33 seats, and the New Democratic Party, known as the NDP, with 25. We also have the Green Party of Canada with 2 seats, but they do not currently hold official status. Today, we're going to focus on Liberals, Conservatives, and NDP. We're going to compare where these parties stand on the important topics of climate change and healthcare to help you decide which party you most align with. Okay, first off, let's take a look at climate change. While all 3 parties officially recognize the threat of climate change, they have very different ideologies regarding the matter. The party with the most aggressive plan is the NDP. Like the Liberal Party, their goal is to achieve a net zero emission by 2050, only with faster timelines for certain key sectors. Additionally, if elected, they plan to appoint a Climate Emergency Committee of Cabinet and establish a Climate Emergency Secretariat in the Prime Minister's office. Now, let's shift our focus to healthcare. Let's take a look at where each party stands not only on healthcare, but pharmacare, dental, reproductive rights, and addiction support. While their approaches and promises regarding these matters vary rather significantly, generally speaking, both the Liberal Party and the NDP more or less agree that healthcare, pharmacare, dental, reproductive rights, and addiction support are all fundamental rights for Canadians. The Conservative Party, however, doesn't quite agree. They favor provincial control of healthcare and wish to implement more private healthcare options, reducing federal involvement in the system. Additionally, they oppose both national pharmacare and dental care and plan to rely more on law enforcement than harm reduction measures to combat Canada's growing addiction crisis. And while party leader Pierre Poilievre has stated that at the moment he has no plans to limit abortion access, members of his party are advocating for restrictions. While the topics of climate change and healthcare are essential, they are by no means the only policies relevant to deciding your vote. We hope you take the information you've learned from this report and further it by expanding your knowledge and further researching each party's platform. Hopefully, now you feel you have a better understanding of the core values of each party.
While this guide is a great start, it's only the tip of the iceberg. We hope you now do more research to further your knowledge.
A good place to start would be to visit each party's website and go from there. After the break, we will bring a special guest to talk about the recent changes affecting international students. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back. By now, you know how the Canadian political system works and have a sense of the parties and their positions.
Now, let's shift to international politics. In recent days, international students have raised concerns about recent changes affecting them. Joining us is John Parker, a media professor at Algonquin College.
With a background in Canadian politics and international relations, John has worked with MPs, contributed to legislative strategy, and campaigned in municipal, provincial, and federal elections. He's passionate about increasing voter turnout.
We're excited to see what he has to share with us today.
The federal government sets targets about how many people they're going to let into the country every year, and there's been a general consensus amongst the Canadian population that population growth is good for our country. What was happening upon further inspection was that there was almost like a shadow immigration system. And so when the federal government set their target at about 500,000 people per year, it doesn't appear to me like they were actually counting international students who were coming in. And you have this enormous population growth, this huge explosion, and you don't have the infrastructure set up to support them. And so the current immigration minister, the exact words he used were that he would use a blunt policy instrument in order to correct it if things didn't change. And what he was foreshadowing was what we've seen now. And the changes have helped us better understand how much they were propping up our post-secondary system, how much of the financial burden they were shouldering in order for domestic students to pay the fees that they're paying. To suddenly become so aware of how important they were, and then to have the feelings of the way that they've been treated is like a double whammy, right? They all need to finish their programs too. So they need to be stuck inside of a system that, from their perspective, is telling them we don't want you, we want your money. It's to limit the population growth to a level that they deem to be acceptable, and what's deemed acceptable is based on a whole bunch of different factors and metrics, and they have access to that information because they're the government. One of the things that we know from the changes is that it was a policy overcorrection. The changes that they made have had a more dramatic effect than what they originally intended. One of the interesting things between the NDP's position on immigration and the Conservatives' positions on immigration is an emphasis on family reunification, which has been an issue in immigration policy for quite some time. What I've been fortunate to learn, having taught so many international students, is how remarkably resilient they are, and how remarkably competent and how resourceful they are. And they're willing to take chances. If they've come this far, then there's not much that's going to stop them. So they might not be okay here, but they're going to be okay at some point. They're going to land on their feet.
If you want to watch the full interview, join our YouTube channel at TV Algonquin.
I hope we have helped you clarify some questions about Canadian politics, that you are prepared enough for the upcoming elections.
Don't forget to do a lot of research before electing a representative and make your voice heard.
Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you next time.
That was good. I thought that was good.